Hi, Jack Bergstrom, coach, speaker, author of the upcoming book, Mastering the Art of Business by Referral. This episode, I'm not going to talk about business by referral at all. It's going to talk about travel. I love to travel. Am I a travel junkie? Maybe not, although I certainly have spent a lot of time and a lot of my finances traveling. I was fortunate enough to sell one of my companies at an early age and be able to retire with a significant chunk of change, and I spent a lot of that living in other countries and traveling. This episode I'm just going to briefly talk about my first trip to Great Britain. I've always said that I was half Scottish and half Swedish. It turns out, having recently had my DNA done, that I'm a little bit more than half Scottish. I'm a little bit less than half Scandinavian, not just Swedish. And somewhere along the line, somebody brought somebody back from Spain. So it was like 10%, 8%, something like that, Spaniard, Iberian Peninsula. And no one has ever talked about the Spaniard in my past. I'm very excited to find out more about that. So I'm going to have a little more extensive testing done and see if we can find some cousins in Spain. That would be an absolute hoot. In any case, Scotland. Now, I don't have, although I do have a little bit of, I want to say, Celt. A lot of Celt. But let's just talk about Scotland. So I wanted to drive in Scotland. I wanted to drive in Great Britain, but I was wise enough not to pick up a car in London. That would have been special. London itself is worthy of numerous travel logs or vlogs. But let's just say I went to the ancient Roman town of Bath, England, and I picked up a car there. And then I drove north. Now, getting into a car, of course, you're on the wrong side of the car with the clutch pedals in the right spot. You're on the wrong side of the car, on the wrong side of the road, shifting with the wrong hand. Very, very interesting. And if it's easy to make right turns in this country, in that country, it's easy to make left turns, and right turns are challenging. I drove 3 times around the city of Bath, making only left-hand turns, before I was brave enough to make a right-hand turn and head north to Scotland. Driving there was the most challenging thing I ever had to do, because you had to be very good at a task. You had to map across your old skills to a completely different way, while your life depended on it. I had my daughter, my nephew, and my then girlfriend with me, and although we had ridden trains, I wanted to take the car. So we drove to north. We went through the Lake District in England, went through a lot of beautiful English countryside, and we finally got up into Scotland. Now, part of my Scottish ancestry is the poet. He's not well known here now, but he's still well known in Europe. The poet Robert Burns. And I wanted to go see where Robert had been, where he's born, where he lived, where he died, and where he's buried. And that's an interesting enough story on its own that I think I'll actually talk about to Robert Burns' gravesite the next time. It was a very, very interesting experience being there. Jack Bergstrom, coach, speaker, author of the upcoming book, Mastering the Art of Business by Referral, talking nothing about business by referral today. I am talking about Scotland, my getting there, and some of the things that I did there. Hope you find it interesting.